You're listening to Easy Travels, an original podcast from Next Travel Group.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Easy Travels podcast. Now, you are hearing a different voice than you normally hear at the intro. This is Martin Mussy, and my co-host Chris is feeling a little under the weather, so he's not with us for this episode. But as we say at Easy Travels, the origin of that is we always wish folks easy travels when they go out and travel out there. And we know that sometimes it is not always as easy as we would hope. So that is sort of where we're at today. So I'm standing in for Chris. Chris, I hope to do you proud. But I'm excited that this episode today, we have on with us another one of our fantastic partners, and that is Liz Scanlon with CIE Tours. And Liz, welcome to the podcast.
Martin, thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here today.
You're welcome. I'm glad to have you on. Liz, let's kick this off. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at CIE, and just in case somebody's been under a rock out there, who CIE Tours is.
Well, I am the Director of Field Sales for CIE Tours, which means I oversee the BDMs, the Business Development Managers, that would be local to the advisors' territories. And I think we have a great team of people. We have a total of 10 BDMs, and 10 BDMs in the U.S., and 2 up in Canada. So a wonderful team of, we call them seasoned BDMs. So if the advisors aren't reaching out to them, I highly suggest that they do to help them increase sales. And as far as who CIE Tours is, we have been in business since 1932, and our primary focus and core product was always Ireland and Britain up until 2018, when we launched a couple of new destinations, or not new destinations, new for CIE Tours, to Iceland and Italy. And not that we want to be a global tour operator, because we know our bread is buttered in Ireland and Britain, but we wanted to be able to offer our past guests some new destinations to travel to. And just this past year, we also launched an itinerary to Spain. So CIE Tours were primarily guided vacations, but we do have other travel styles such as private driver, which has been getting a lot of traction, a lot of people wanting to custom curate their itinerary from scratch. And we also offer self-drive in Ireland only. And we also do a lot of groups, whether they be groups on our guided vacations or custom groups.
That is awesome. You just shared a ton of information right there. And I think there is, amongst that information is things that maybe people didn't even realize, like Spain. That's pretty exciting. Very cool. Now, what is one thing that you would share that's unique about CIE Tours that maybe our listeners really should know and key into?
And that's a great question, Martin, because what we have with CIE Tours for our guided vacations, we call it the inclusive advantage. And what that means, and the biggest takeaway from that would be all of our sightseeing is included. So when guests are traveling with us, and when they're reviewing, whether on our website or in the brochure with their advisors, they're going to see, all the different sightseeing, the attractions that they'll be visiting. That's all included. Our tour guides do not sell any optional excursions when the guests are at the destination. So what that means is there's no additional out-of-pocket expense to the clients when it comes to sightseeing attractions, any additional meals. We don't sell those. The tour directors are completely focused on their passion and their knowledge about the destination and really immersing the clients in the destination. So the commentary that they have is not interrupted by reminding guests that, tonight we could go and do a dinner with entertainment. So whoever wants to sign up for that, let's do it by this afternoon so that I can get numbers in. They don't do any of that. All of the sightseeing's included. Of course, the inclusive advantage also includes breakfast every day with the exception of the first day. If it's a 10-day tour, maybe 5 dinners are included, maybe a lunch is included. All the transportation, of course, on our luxury motor coaches, the services of the tour director from beginning to end, all local taxes and hotel service charges. So again, what that translates to as well is that travel advisors are receiving their full commission. So that's the inclusive advantage that I want to share. Hopefully, most advisors are aware that we do offer, that's part of the guided vacations. But just in case, I just think it's important to know what sets us apart from the competition.
Yeah, for sure. That's really important to know. Just as a consumer of travel, I mean, that's important to know that you're not going to have those continuous out-of-pocket expenses. So that's really good to know. Hey, everyone out there, I hope you've been taking notes and you'll continue to. Now, Liz, what I do know about our listeners and our audience of advisors that are out there, and maybe even just people who have found the podcast and find us, they know who CIE Tours is. A lot of people have heard about you. But what's a little known fact or detail that you feel that advisors either miss or do not realize about CIE Tours?
Well, so let me ask you, Martin, do you know what CIE stands for?
I knew you were going to do that. At one time, I did, and because I've heard it in presentations before. Did I retain it for this moment? No, I did not. But hey, Liz, tell us, what does CIE stand for?
So CIE, it's Gaelic and it translates into Chorus Umper Éireann, which means Ireland's National Transport Company. So really what that means, right, it's very interesting because it means that CIE Tours were basically a subsidiary of the Irish government. So Chorus Umper Éireann, Ireland's National Transport Company, that means my parent company is responsible for the public buses and trains that run throughout the country of Ireland. So yeah, pretty cool. And, one thing to mention too is that, CIE, because of our, roots in Ireland, right? We are the largest, we fill the most number of beds, hotel beds throughout the country of Ireland, as well as the most number of seats, airline seats going over to the country of Ireland, based on who we are, based on all of the clients that we're sending over to visit the country of Ireland.
Hey, that is some good tidbit of information. I love that, and I had always heard it, that government owned, but that little
Mhm.
tidbit about the buses and transport in Ireland, that's yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Now, this next question, it really gives us a little bit of insight to each of our partner guests, and I know this is important to so many people. This is a relationship business. What does that mean to you?
Well, it is. It's certainly a relationship business, and I really think it's about building trust with our partners, our clients, and really making the connections through networking, finding out, what do our partners need, what do our advisors need, making sure that we follow up when we say we will. Our word is our word, assisting whenever any issues arise. But I do think, and I feel that it is about the relationships in this industry. I've been in the industry 43 years and it's amazing the connections that you make. You become friends. You become friends with your travel advisors and ensuring that they're getting what they need when, they're working with a partner. And I think CIE Tours again, I have an amazing team that, that's what they're out there doing. They're building relationships, to get to a mutually successful goal that both sides have. And, it's important to keep the lines of communication open and making sure that we're following up.
Yeah, well, and you do not have 43 years in this industry and not have relationships along the way. So we're grateful for you and the relationship that we have with yourself and with CIE Tours. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you something that is going to be a little bit of a deeper dive into Liz herself, because I always like to say that when we are in business for our advisors and even ourselves on this side of the industry, life happens at the same time that you are, running a business, leading a business. So, what do you like to do when you're not working hard at CIE Tour?
Well, when I'm not working, I like to be out in my yard in the garden, which we still have snow on the ground. I'm in southern New
Oh,
Hampshire, and
yeah,
I cannot wait for that to disappear.
I bet.
So I love to garden. I've got flower gardens, and this year I'm going to bring back the vegetable garden. It's kind of therapy for me. It's therapeutic, the quietness, the peacefulness. I'm out in the countryside. I do love going to the beach as well. That's a passion of mine. I love being out in the outdoors, and spending time with family and friends, of course, is always huge.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I do have to ask you, with the gardening, people who like to garden and do all that tend to also love to go see gardens in other places. So in the places that CIE Tours goes, any great gardens you would recommend? Places that you've been to?
So at Kylemore Abbey, up in the southwest portion of Ireland, it's a beautiful place anyway. It used to be a private home, and it's situated on a lake, and it's now home to the Benedictine nuns who kind of keep it up and stuff. They have like a little shop, a gift shop. They make honey. They make little treats and stuff like that, foodie treats. But they also have a garden there, and it's beautiful during the summertime. Wonderful. It's a nice, quiet setting, and just nice to be able to walk amongst the roses that they have there and the other flowers. It's just a beautiful, pristine area. So highly recommend a visit, incorporate a visit to Kylemore Abbey if guests are traveling over during the summer months.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Sounds nice and serene and a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. I do know that, many advisors, when they're looking to show their clients what, partners like you, CI Tours, does and delivers on, what really helps is that they have sort of, marketing information or anything like that. In terms of, marketing and working with advisors on that, what do you all offer up? What's the best way to partner with you all in terms of communications and marketing to clients?
Great question. Because we do have a couple of different things. We do have our travel agent marketing resource portal, which is just a phenomenal repository to go to get whether it be the current flyers that we have for promotions. They're editable flyers, so advisors can put their call to action and blast it out, put it in newsletters, whatever, to their clients. There's also the videos we'll have, which pretty short videos, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half, but some fantastic, assets there. A lot of photos. We have the photo library depending upon destination. So if advisors need anything like that, there's some social media content that they can grab, recorded webinars that we've done, whether it be dedicated for groups, private driver, certain destinations. Again, advisors can go and utilize that travel agent marketing resource portal. The other thing I suggest too is make sure that you all have a login for CIE Tours where not only can you make bookings online, but it also, you're opting in to receive our emails so that you're, in the loop of any promotions that we have going on in the marketplace at all times. I think that's important so that, you can get out there to your clients and, you know, kind of plant some seeds and propose some ideas to them when, they're looking to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I bet you have an amazing catalog, as you've just already went through, of all kinds of resources. But what's the one resource that you wish advisors used even more?
Well, their local BDM, they're going to be a wealth of information for you. They're going to be able to assist you. If you want to promote a group, Your local BDM is going to help guide you with choosing the right itinerary. Maybe you want to do, a custom group or want to block space on our scheduled tours, but they're the ones that will work with you to help, create a flyer, offer you co-op dollars, 50/50 co-op dollars to help promote the group. They can schedule a group presentation so that they can either come in person or do a virtual webinar to help generate bodies in those seats. Absolutely 100% reach out to your local BDM.
We are in lockstep about that. We continue to drive that message home to all of our advisors. Such a invaluable resource. I work with travel advisors all the time on building their business. So I do know that that is one way for sure that you partner with advisors for mutual success. Is there anything else that you would add to that you would say? Anything sort of that differentiates you all in terms of how you partner with advisors?
I think it's like I said, it's really just the connection. I think with the local BDM. Also, too, you get support as well when you're promoting groups with CIE tours. We have group specialists in the group department, whether they be group specialists just for the scheduled tours or group specialists for the custom groups. So it's a double whammy. I always say that when you're promoting groups with us, we tag team you between your local BDM and the group specialist, just to ensure that the group that you're blocking is a success. We're here to help you. So definitely lean into us, to make it as seamless as possible.
That's what I'm hearing is you have this opportunity, or our advisors do really, to partner not just with their BDM, but also with your groups department and potential. Do you have somebody who's assigned to a group or is it kind of a tag team approach? How does that work?
So the BDMs, actually, the group specialists are assigned to different territories, right? So I want to say, as the sales team, we've got 12 BDMs out there. The group department, they probably have about 14 group specialists, like I said, broken into custom groups as well as scheduled groups. So they will be assigned whoever, like if they're working with their BDM in New York, then they've got whoever the group specialist is assigned for New York. So it doesn't change. It's always the same
Gotcha.
people that you'd be dealing with.
Nice. Got it. Makes sense. Well, Liz, this has been fantastic getting to know you a little bit more as well as CIE tours. I just have one quick follow up question still on CIE to just ask. I had the opportunity to actually have my first trip to the UK, Ireland adjacent. I was in Scotland at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year. But when you had mentioned things like Spain, what goes into deciding like the next destination that CIE tours will sort of open up?
Well, so the reason Iceland and Italy came about in 2018 and 19 was because, well, at the time, what were the most popular destinations? Like the eyes all had it at the time:
Yeah.
Ireland, Iceland, and Italy. But I think it made a good fit. And then Spain had been on the docket again because it was increasing in popularity. I will give a little sneak uh, preview, really, but just a little quick tip. Well, for
Yeah.
2027, we are going to launch another Spain itinerary, and it will be northern Spain with Portugal. So,
Ooh.
and again, only because it kind of made sense, right, Martin?
Yeah.
Spain, Portugal. So that was kind of the thought process behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, now, Liz, this is the time for our fun question where we say that this question just gives us a little bit more insight. We've gotten to know you, that your love of gardening and all that. But here's an extra fun question. This was generated for all of our listeners out there who've heard Chris ask this question. I did not come up with the question, Chris sent it to me. So this actually does come from Chris. So here's the question, Liz. If you were a ghost, what place would you want to be haunting?
If I were a ghost, what place would I want to be haunting? Can I even say this?
First thing that comes into your mind.
That is the first thing. I'd like to haunt one of my competitors, they're the company, just to kind of get the finger on the pulse of behind the scenes with them. So I don't know if I can say who they would be.
No, 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 don't go there.
Yeah, but that would be kind of cool, right? To kind of get the inside scoop and just be a little on top of the game to
Yeah, yeah.
do a
Now,
jump start, come out with things they might be planning.
that's like the fly on the wall situation, right there. So now I'm going to go a little bit. Next step, I'm going to ask you. Let's say you picked a destination that CI Tours goes to, or a physical place, castle. I don't know. What would be a fun spot that you'd want to haunt?
Well, I would like to haunt Dromoland Castle because supposedly Dromoland is haunted by this woman named Mary. I had heard that years ago when I was staying there, and I love horror movies and stuff, so it didn't really bother me until I got back into my room that night, and then I started thinking about this ghost Mary, and kind of you got the eyes open and watching the door, wondering like, is Mary coming into my room? But yeah, so if Dromoland Castle is haunted, I'd love to be the ghost haunting it to see if, is Mary really there? Does she exist?
Yeah,
And why is she haunting it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. See, now we're getting into the deep stuff here. You just want to hang out with Mary and haunt the other guests hanging out at coming to see the castle. I get it. I get it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, what fun. Liz, thank you so much for your time and being with us today. We really appreciate it. For all of you who are listening, this has been Easy Travels. Thank you so much. Looking forward to having Chris back when he returns. But as we always say, and we end every podcast, we wish you all easy travels.
If you have enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us your thoughts or even show topic ideas in the comments of this episode, or email us at communications@nexion.com.